Multi-award-winning musician Gloria Bosman has passed away at the age of 50. The Soweto-born jazz singer and songwriter died after a short illness. The songstress will be remembered by her versatile voice that was able to blend different genres such as gospel, jazz, rock and Afro. Her first album in the early 2000s scored her a Summer Award for the Best Newcomer, while her second album earned her a number of nominations. At the time of her passing, Bosman was a Summer board member. So let's speak to jazz writer and art dealer Percy Mabandu as we continue to pay tribute to musician Gloria Bosman. Percy, you know, as she starts, you know, saying, I can just hear the backing vocals saying, play me those love songs, one of the many beautiful songs, of course. And I mean, she was known for her ever-growing list of honors. And a lot of people talk about the Cora Awards, talk about the Summer Awards. Who was Gloria Bosman to you?
Bogiwa, thanks for having me. It's, you know, I'm still reeling from this news. Yeah. I mean, I learned of, you know, just passing just now when I got the call, I think at around 5 p.m. So as you can imagine, I'm still trying to figure out what this all means. It's somebody I knew personally in the music industry, having served as Sambro myself at the Sambro Foundation. This is somebody that I used to see on the corridors of the Sambro building, somebody that I've interacted with countless times as an art journalist. I've written about her, and somebody who enjoyed her music. And she comes from my alma mater, the then Technical Pretoria Arts Faculty, now, you know, Tony University of Technology. So our paths sort of crossed a lot of time. But last year, we shared a stage at the Music and Lifestyle Expo on the context of the Joy of Jazz International Jazz Festival. So I mean, I'm still trying to figure out this whole. I learned of her passing through a phone call and a tweet by Percy Mabandu. And the first reaction that hit me was her daughter, who loses the mother in all of this. We tend to reduce these people to kind of icons of the creative output that they make, but these are people who belong to families as well. In fact, the first album that you mentioned earlier on includes a song called Buikarabelo's Lullaby, which she had dedicated to her then baby daughter, now almost grown, yet full human being. So Gloria was a lot of things to a lot of us, but to those of us who knew her as a musician, understood her as a virtuoso musician who manages to defy the confines of genre, to do much more with a gift than just, you know, be a star. One of the things that she spoke about a great deal was the idea that as a musician, you need to look after yourself and understand that you have a long journey of creative output and a long journey of cultural activity that you are committing yourself for, or committing yourself to when you become a musician. Little did you know that you only had a few months to go. This was in November.
And
yeah.
And I mean, Percy, pardon me for coming in there and just talking about that. I mean, what one thinks about her voice and just how she was able to captivate an audience. And you think about not only captivating audiences in South Africa and across the world. And I remember in one interview, she jokingly said, you know, when people listen to a sound that comes from South Africa, they just love it. So you are able to just captivate the audience. Let's talk about, you know, her on stage and, you know, that ability to captivate the audience from beginning to the end of her set.
Yeah, look, Gloria Bosman was a seasoned musician. She was a virtuoso. She was trained at the vocal studies department at the Technical Pretoria, which is an opera school. You have to understand that she is trained as an opera singer. She comes out of the choir tradition in Soweto, and which is, you know, decidedly black and modern and African, rooted in African traditional song. And she then practiced as a jazz musician. These are three distinct creative fields that have very strong technical demands on any singer or any musician. And she managed to bring them all together to form a unique sound. This is not unlike what it means to be a South African. And this is, I think, what she understood about the creative practice of a musician who's serious and is from this part of the world, that you benefit from multiple traditions, both the African tradition that is your base, but also you have this exposure to the American songbook, the African American songbook, and you have this tradition of European music, that you also inherit. And as an artist, to be able to speak to that thing that makes us all South African is to be able to amalgamate all of these things in your own unique way, as both an improviser and a classically trained musician. To be able to find something that's uniquely you and something that can only happen in this part of the world. And something that many of us take for granted. You think, from South Africa, what does that mean? I think in the way in which she shaped her creative practice, Gloria understood just exactly how that needs to be done. And look what she has achieved.
And really, she's achieved quite a great deal. I mean, you think about her contribution going beyond the stage as a member of the SAMRO board as well, making her presence felt, even on that front.
Yeah, look, I mean, one of the things that I enjoyed about, whenever I had conversations with Gloria Bosman is how she manages to understand her creative practice, both as a musician, as a performing artist, but also she understood the business and the organizational side of the practice. The fact that when you're a musician, you also have to struggle all these other responsibilities to yourself by understanding what the right organizations that you need to interface with are all about. And that's why she was on the SAMRO board, I suppose, because she understood the fact that there are other conversations to be had beyond what happens to stage. There are ways in which a creative and artist needs to look after both themselves and a community of artists to which she belongs by being an active creative, and corporate citizen, as it were. So there was a kind of activist, an entrepreneurial activist, if you will, that she was, as well. And she was always willing to help. As a teacher as well, I mean, one of the things that happened at our last event together was seeing a lot of young opera singers coming to her and say, look, we love what we do, we're in opera music, but we also recognize that there are other fields in music that we want to be able to express ourselves in. How do you make a transition successfully without betraying either of the genres that you want to participate with? And watching her take them, on and sitting with them, quietly at the corner to share what she has been able to achieve, to share her insights and her knowledge, was something wonderful to see, that here's somebody who's very successful, but also here's somebody who has time for the young one, who can often be pesky, but she had time. She had time for young musicians on the come up. She understood her role as an African mother and as a creative professional.
And Percy, thank you so much for sharing those recollections with us, and condolences to you as well, because I know, as you say, you're still trying to make sense of everything. You've just heard the news, but thank you for taking our call and really just speaking to us. We do appreciate those memories. That was a jazz writer and art dealer, Percy Mabandu. And of course, there is the official statement from the family that has also just come out, and they say it is with profound sadness that we shared that in the early hours of this morning, we lost the rock of our family, a beloved mother, grandmother and sister, Gloria Bosman, who came to fame for her soulful and soothing voice. After a short illness, she transcended peacefully at her home, surrounded by family. And Gloria had devoted her life not just to her family, but to her music. She was loved and adored by many here in South Africa and beyond its borders. Her fans were part of her large and extended family that she always put her best stage performances for. The details of memorial and burial services will be released in due course. We appeal for your compassion and space during this time of overwhelming grief. We welcome and appreciate your prayers in the difficult days ahead of us. And that, of course, is how the family pens the news of her passing.